let's go make something.
So, I've been putting this shop tour off for a while now. I'm not really sure why I've been putting it off. I just have. I've been asked quite a few times to do another updated shop tour, so today I've actually decided to do it. As many of you know, my shop is in a basement. I have house piles that I've got to work around. I'm very limited on space, and the house is 103 years old now, I think. So it's quite an old house, and the basement itself is not that big. If you look behind me, you can actually see it goes up on the hill that we live on. So I'm only limited to the front or the back end of the basement. Just as you walk in the door, which is right behind the camera, the first thing you see is my table saw. Now, my table saw is not an expensive table saw. It's from the Tool Shed, a local brand here in New Zealand, and it's their mid-range table saw. I think I paid $1,500, $1,400 for it the most. So it's not top of the line, but it does the job, and I'm happy with it. I've upgraded it with the Incra miter gauge, and I've done a few bits to it. I also have the Incra sled now, as well as my crosscut sled and my jointing jig that I still use every now and again. So spinning around behind the table saw is my lathe. Now my lathe's sitting on my old workbench that I used to tinker on, so I no longer really have a tinkering workbench. It's again the Tool Shed brand. I've got nothing against this lathe for what it is. It's a MIDI lathe. Behind the lathe, King Chrome pegboard. Now I picked them up really cheap from one of the Mitre 10, I think it was, or Bunnings, one of the two, I cannot remember which one. I got them for really cheap. I got two of them, a third of the price of what they normally would cost. And my lathe I picked up $400. I wouldn't be any more than that anyway. Spinning around, seeing the rest of the mess. In this corner, I've got my chisels, so a few tools that I regularly go for. In these drawers I've got more bits and pieces, bits for the lathe, more pegs for the pegboard, some screws, odd bits for the one of my routers, and I don't know why they are there. When I'm on my drill press, the camera is normally sitting here. So moving around further is my drill press, which I use regularly in my videos. Again, the Tool Shed brand. And I picked this one up for maybe $700, $750. No, $800, sorry. Now it's it's got the milling bench on it that you can, I don't use it for woodworking. The only thing I've noticed about this one is it's very hard to wind up and down. That's one of the downfalls I don't like about this one. But other than that, it meets my needs for woodworking. So just to the side, this is all my drill bits. Everything to do with the drill. So hole saws, spade bits, normal drill bits, burnishes, milling bits, which will be going on my CNC, normal drill bits, hole saws. That's all within reach of the drill press. As you can see just down there, I'm struggling to find places to put wood, and it gets out of hand. Under the bench it's just junk. There's a battery charger there. There is a laser level in the blue container, extension cords, water sprayer, the stands for the spotlight. I'm struggling for space. This is the part you don't see on videos. So moving into the main work area, you can actually see the house piles I've got to contend with. The main one there with all the cables on it becomes quite annoying, makes it very limited to what I can do. 2 benches working in between the 2 house piles there, and then just to the side of the end of the main workbench is my router table, which I'll show later. In behind the drill press, another house pile right here. So I decided to put up a semi-small partition, which means I can hang stuff on it. But things have changed since I've put that up, and I really need to resort it out. Then as you can see, I've got my really cheap grinder. I'll pick that up for $6 maybe at a garage sale, and it's just sitting on a stand that was made here in the shop. In behind that is a little bit more of wood storage, various different small offcuts that are usable, but realistically I probably need to sort a lot of that stuff out and actually just burn it. But I don't like that idea. My main camera, well actually the rig, but the camera's actually not in the rig at the moment. This bench here, which has got wood storage underneath it, and it's the main one you'll see the cameras sitting on, pointing down to the main workbench, which is where you see me in the videos. I do sometimes change it around when I need a little bit more space for assembling something slightly bigger. I have a little bit more room to play with, and I also have like the Craig vice clamp system. My main bench, and as I said, I'm still putting stuff away from the last project. This is an old bathroom vanity unit, very old. All I did was put a couple of layers of MDF on it. It is very stable. I can't believe how stable it is. It means in the cupboard underneath it, that's where I put my sanders and grinder, jigsaw, multi-tool, heat gun, etc. Then in the drawers it's usually sandpaper and other bits and pieces. In the small unit cavity is where my brad nail is kept, so a little bit more sandpaper, bits and pieces for a router bolt. So looking back at the camera, if you just spin round, you see the house pile I have to contend with, and then just in the corner there is my paints, stains, a mixture of everything else, more paint in the wee, what do you call one of those things, plastic tray holder thingy. Then into my tool cabinet, basically it's just my standard tools in there, screwdrivers, socket set in the top, screwdrivers, spanners, crescents, vice grips, pliers, spanners, screwdrivers, flush cut saw. Drawer here should be a mixture of calipers, small files, weird and wonderful bits and pieces. Moving around, air compressor. That's just an air compressor. Behind me, down below, is more junk, offcut of plastics that I can use for different projects. More paint, glue sticks. Down there is more paint because it doesn't fit on the shelf. There's more Oh, that's my vise that I have used once or twice now. Now going up above the tool cabinet, clamps, squares and tape. And the shelf there is mainly router bits and brad nailer bits and pieces, glue, screws, some of the hand tools that I do use every now and again from files and that. Looking down, this is a bit you don't see often on the video. A complete and utter mess. The best thing I actually made for the shop so far is this storage cabinet unit for my storage containers. It just makes it so much easier getting to them. And just above it, the laptop. Above that, there's some clamps. More clamps just here. Moving around is to my bandsaw. And surprise, surprise, it is the Toolshed brand. I have no complaints about this bandsaw at all. Does the job. So I've got nothing to complain about. And behind that, more clamps. More wood that's just been thrown there and needs to be sorted. You don't actually see that on video, and which is just leaning up against my sander. And the angle from the sander you normally see is from about here. Camera just sitting on the bandsaw. And behind that, my new router bag, which has got the router in it at the moment because I just want to keep it separated from everything with all the bits together. Containers for some of my tools, which I could probably get rid of, which will open up some space. My new scroll saw, which I love. Just below that, there's more stains and more paints, brushes and that down there. And right on the deck there is more containers I can actually get rid of. I don't know why I keep them, to be honest. Now, because I'm running out of space, the DeWalt 735, I love this machine, but I have to pick it up, throw it up onto the table where the main camera gets put, and change everything around. Just beside it, again on the deck, is a jointer planer as well, thicknesser combo machine. Because I've got the DeWalt, I now leave that purely in jointer mode. Just in behind that, but these is more cabinets. There's 3 of them there. No, 4. We picked those up for like $25 each, down from something like 130. So we said, okay. My Bosch saw and stand, I paid something like $1,600 for that. I just buy them when I can. I save up, I buy them. Oh, here's one question I do actually get is what type of rotary tool I have. So, my rotary tool is a cheap Fuller brand rotary tool, and it's got a flexi extension on it, which makes life so much easier. And I only paid like $80 for it. It takes all the Dremel parts, it takes all the bits and pieces. It served me well. I didn't see the point in buying a Dremel. So there's no way there's $100,000 worth of tools down here. Yes, it looks impressive, but no, not $100,000 worth. I don't know where they see $100,000. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And remember to click the notification bell icon, that way you'll be notified when I upload a new video. You can find us on most social media, including Google+, Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter and Instagram. Please also consider supporting me on Patreon. See you next time. don't forget to go and make something.